Hey ladies, I thought it would be easier today to make a video to kind of go over the expectations for today than to try to write them out in words. So hopefully this is helpful. Some of you have some edits that you need to make to your budgets. I made notes on if things look good or not. The first thing is that notice that this says monthly salary. Some people had values of like 72,000 or 120,000. No one is going to be making that much in a month. So if you're using the amount that you got for your starting salary, which you should be using that from your career survey, take that amount, divide it by 12, and we're not factoring in taxes or anything. Just go ahead and do monthly salary, what that is. So, I mean, I'm obviously not really making $100,000. Then for these expenses, as I said on Monday, these do not have to be the same for you. Probably everybody's going to have like rent or some sort of housing cost and food, utilities, cell phone or cable, transportation. Those are just kind of some of the basics. I included a dog because I have a dog, but not all of you are going to have a dog. So if you don't need that, you can just go in here and you can delete that row. Or you can change it and say, I love that somebody put on there that like hair and nails are really important to them. And that's great. That's something that we need to think about how much we're going to spend per month. And so they changed that category. If you want to add another one in, you can insert a row above. Maybe you want to add in going to the movies. I love going to the movies, and so you need to put that amount in there. Obviously, these values are not correct. If you're paying $12,000 a month in rent, I'm very concerned about where you're living. If you're spending $42,000 a month on food, what are you eating? But so you're going to have to do some research, and this is where today's assignment comes in. So let's say that you are wanting to live in New York City. And so what you're going to do is you're going to look for apartments for rent in New York City. This is a good way to start. You could also search something like average cost of apartment in NYC. And look at that. Here's what you'll pay in rent. So this one I like. It looks like it gives me a breakdown of how many bedrooms. So 3 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom, and a studio. So if I want to live in the Bronx, I'm looking at paying this much per month. Here's Manhattan. Goodness gracious, this could be a little bit alarming for some of you. Maybe I think 1 or 2 people said maybe New York. So if you're wanting to live in Brooklyn, you're paying, even for just a studio, you're paying $2,350 a month. That is pretty stinking expensive. But you can also go on here and even just go to I'm just going to go to apartments.com. And it's kind of fun to even spend some time looking at the apartments that are available. Man, that's a lot of apartments. Ooh, this looks nice, but look at this. Anywhere from studio to 3 bed, anywhere from $2,911 to over $7,000 a month. Oh my gosh. But it gives you a chance to also kind of explore all right, this is a really nice place. So for the really nice, what am I paying? For the not so nice, what am I going to be paying? And so you could say, all right, I'm going to limit my price. My maximum can be looks like let me see. What happens if I put in $1,000 a month? How many options are there? Not too many. There's no availability, it looks like right now. So what if I change that to, what if I change it to 1,300? All right, so there are a couple of options here. And you can look and kind of see what works for you. So I'm going to take this one and say, okay, $1,250. Or I'm going to look at the average rent and say, okay, well, if I really want to rent a place in Manhattan with 1 bedroom, I'm looking at $3,100 a month. Okay, so maybe my actual job gives me, maybe I make $3,000 in a month. So then my rent, we just said, is going to be, what did I say? $3,100. I have a problem. Already I can see that this means that I'm going to be spending more than I make. And so I might need to get a second job. So maybe I need to up that to, what if I make $4,000 a month? Okay, so now I can spend I can spend $400 on food. I can spend $100 on utilities. And the way I've set it up, some of you put your columns over here and just copied it. Put them here because notice that this number keeps changing. I set up a formula so that it will do that for you. So yeah, you can actually do that. You might have to change for this one. Notice it says that it's going from B5 to B10, so that's from here to here. So if you add on, like I need to change this one to B11 because I added a row. So now it'll account for the movies as well. So this maybe costs me $40 a month. And then transportation, maybe I'm not going to get a car. I'm just going to use the subway. So then I don't know how much the subway costs. So how much does the subway cost in New York City? Subway fare is $2.75 payable with Metro card. So we might have to do a little bit of research into that and figure out how much is that going to cost. If you're planning on just biking, that's awesome. But if you're going to have a car, you need to look at car payments and gas and do some research there. So I'm going to say that I did my research and it comes out to be about $100 a month. Hair and nails, I can spend $100 on that a month. And I see down here that I'm still $160 under my budget. So that means that if I want to spend $160 at the movies, I can. But the goal, that's not really realistic. I'm not going to spend $160 at the movies. The goal, like we looked at yesterday, is to make this number here equal 0. We want the amount that we're spending and the amount that we're making to be equal. And so what I want you to do is next to each thing, like for example for rent, if I get my information about rent from here, I'm just going to copy that. I did Control C. And then I'm going to put my source over here, just so that I can see where you're getting your sources. And you need to do a little bit of research into each of these. I'm going to expect to see each of your categories filled in based on where you're living, because food costs in New York City are going to be very, very different from like Indianapolis. Oh, I forgot one. Eating out. I love to go out to eat for meals. So maybe I do like $100 there and then $60 at the movies. There we go. So yeah, play around with this. I'm going to give you 2 days because some of these might require, you might have to do some editing on your budget, and you'll need to find some sources over here. But remember, the goal is to make this equal 0. Now, if you need to like make a disclaimer and say I had to up how much I made, tell me how you're making that. To increase how much I made, maybe I'll get a second job at McDonald's. I don't know. So in order to make your dream work, what do you need to do to for how much you need to make and how much you can spend? Again, this should all be based on where you're living. The cost of these things in New York City is going to be very different from Managua, from Buenos Aires. I don't think I said that right. I'm sorry if I butchered it and made someone cringe. But yeah, that's your assignment for today and tomorrow. We'll do that. Let me know if you have any questions.